Welcome, guys, back to the Real Estate Connecting podcast. And today I have an amazing guest. Eric is now one of the biggest wholesalers in DFW area. But honestly, I want to bring him all the way back to the very beginning. And we're not talking about the beginning on the journey on the real estate. We're not talking about the beginning when he was 18 years old, got out of high school kind of a thing. We're going all the way back to when he was 5 years old. And I think that's where the best thing comes, is understanding everybody's great stories, right? So Eric, tell me a little bit about you, man. Something that this could be like a brief summary of your whole life, right, in the first couple seconds, and then we'll go and break it down to the nitty gritty, man.
Sure. But a comment towards what you said right before we went on air was we can cut out what we want. And my comment is no, man, we're going to do it live. We're going to do it once. And there's no edits, because in life, you don't get any redos. Just like starting at 5 years old, there were no redos. I've made a ton of mistakes, a ton of them. I think about where I grew up, and I think about the privilege that I had to go through the struggles that we did, because fast forwarding to 18, after I graduated at 16, there was a bunch of problems. I was nothing but a problem as a child. Bless my mother, bless my parents, bless the father figures that I did have, right? I was hell on wheels, and there was a problem because I've always been pretty smart, and I didn't understand that at a young age. I just thought that I used to be one of those guys that's like, oh, well, just bootstrap it and this, that, and the other. And then as I got older, I realized I was a little sharper, right? And things came a little easier to me than others, and I was really good at most things that I tried. And that's not true for everybody, but I've seen now, having trained hundreds, if not thousands of people, that anybody can do it. It's just a matter of effort, right? And staying consistent. And that's what I've had to do throughout my life. So going back to 5 years old, I grew up in a town. I was born in Rockford, Illinois, just outside of Chicago. My parents were both Marines. My first 4 years of life were spent in California on Marine bases and everything else like that. Later, foreshadowing, I became a Marine much later. But I didn't understand the level of poverty we lived in. I didn't, because I lived it, right? I didn't understand how cold it was. I haven't fully, my parents, they worked their ass off. They did everything they could, but it's also Rockford, Illinois. And there's not much that you can do to get out of that trap. And those that do normally join the military, go to college or something like that. And that's a very rare few, especially going to the schools that I went to, hanging with the people that I was experienced to, and everything else. So I got out of there as fast as I could, right? So I graduated at 16, ultimatum. I had to stay there till I was 18. And I jumped down to Texas here, not in Fort Worth, in a town called Cleveland, Texas, just south. And that's where I actually recruited from the Marine Corps. I got to know my dad, who was a career Marine, and as hard and tough as nails. Got me ready for the Marine Corps. Literally beat the shit out of me a couple of times just to get my head right, because I was a headstrong dude, and thought I was God's gift to everything. And he reminded me that there's always somebody stronger than me, faster, stronger, all of that. Even at his older age, he was still whooping my ass, which was fun. But then when I went to the Marine Corps, I found purpose. I found brotherhood. I found the things that I had been seeking my whole life, but didn't know I was seeking. And that gave me purpose. And one of my bloodline with purpose is a dangerous thing. There's not much that gets in our way when we get our teeth locked into something. And that's what it was. I was going to be a career Marine. I didn't tell my friends that, right? Because we all bitched about the Marine Corps, but secretly to myself, I was always going to be a career Marine. And then politics got in the way of my way out. I got a DUI now. I got out honorably and all that fun stuff. I served my good term. I deployed. I did all my fun stuff and all of that. But I was going to stay in, and I was about to re-enlist. And then I got a DUI for some really shitty circumstances, and it really pissed me off. I'll just be honest. I was 22 years old, and I was pissed. And I got out. And then I went back to Rockford, Illinois, and that's where the fun starts, folks. You want to talk about pain, you want to talk about struggle, you want to talk about all that fun shit. I thought it was hard when I was a kid. Holy crap. Getting out of the Marine Corps, whoa. Going back to that place, oof. Riddled with opportunity to make horrible decisions. And I made a bunch of them. And I'm not going to get into all those details, but I made a lot of mistakes, and I got lucky quite a few times to not, be in a really worse off situation. And luckily, my stepfather, bless his heart, he came down with a phone call. And I was like, I got to get the fuck out of here. And he was like, okay. He's like, but if I come up there, he's like, there's no other decisions. I come from a line of very, very strong, dominant men, right? So, when they say something, they do it. And so if he's hooking up the trailer and bringing up there because my Jeep can't make the trip, right? That means I better be ready when he gets there. Well, I thought he was bluffing when he said he was getting in the truck, because I've heard that before. right? But he was literally there in 16 hours and he already had half my shit packed by the time I got off work, right? So that's the beginning of everything else, right? So getting down here, living with my brother, and then started down in Alvarado, shining shiny shit at Saber Galvanizer. So it's been one hard job after another my whole life. Construction most of my life. I come from contractors. I've learned most of those skills, and that's how I got through college, even with the GI Bill. But fast forward there, went to TCC Northwest, graduated there, met some of my best friends there. Worked as a safety director for an industrial company, Hidalgo Industrial. They since went under. Worked on crazy projects, awesome stuff. And I've always been the youngest in the room, basically. And it's only now with a little bit of gray in my hair that I'm starting to see what some of those old cats were saying about my overzealousness at 27, 28, 29 years old. I thought I knew everything. I did.
That is so awesome. So that brings me back to the question, as far as like when you were 5 years old, did you want to be a Marine? What were your thoughts behind what did you want to be when you were a grown up, right? Because we all, when we're little kids, it's like, I want to be a grown up today. You know what I mean? And then now it's like, I'll be a child. But
I feel like I've been in a hurry my whole life. I've been chasing my age my whole life. Again, being the youngest in the room most often. When I was 5 years old, really, I just wanted to be safe. I didn't think that far ahead. I mean, I can remember back that far if that's crazy enough, right? Like I can remember being 5 and 6 years old. And it was like 12, 13 is really what it turned out. I was like, man, this would be cool. I think I want to be an architect. Right. I was really good at drawing and I played a bunch of instruments and all that fun stuff through, high school and stuff, violin, viola, cello, bass, a bunch of other shit. Um, and I don't anymore, but I did growing up because it was special to me. Right. So a part of me wanted to be a musician, but I realized that shit's never going to pay the bills. So, and I come from abject poverty. So those dreams are bullshit. So, and I come from places where I was literally told that going to college and writing a term paper was never going to pay the bills. Right? I came from a parent. See what I'm saying? So there was no choice. There was no aspiration. It was, this is different. I don't know how many people can relate to this, but my parents growing up, and this is where they came from. This is how they were raised, and this is just how it was, right? So don't blame the player, blame the game, right? So I don't have any hate towards my parents, but this is just my reality. Was my whole childhood, I was basically told that I was a problem, right? Is that you're my problem until you're 18, and then you can get out of my house. I can't tell you how many times I heard that, but they didn't say that from a place of anger or disdain or hate. They said it out of a place of love, right? Because they were like, you need to be self sustainable. You need to be self sufficient because if not, you're going to be a problem, right? Sure. Right. And this is, I come from raised from Marines and all military, man. So we speak, it's my culture. This is how I speak, right? So when they got into me, it was out of a place of love. And I didn't understand it then, but I totally get it now. So I've always been on a mission. I just didn't understand what the end goal was. And the Marine Corps helped me at that. And then when that got ripped from me, I was like, well, now what? And then every position I was in, I kept getting promoted. So I was like, okay, let's keep trying, right? And then I decided, why not go to college? Everybody in my family went to the military. None of them went to college, right? So why not I try that? And then I was really good at it. I didn't realize that I was really good at school. I was really good at learning.
yeah,
But like, you don't realize when you're picking up these skills, when you're, a jarhead just going through the motions, that you're picking up massive skills, like skills that will pay you for the rest of your life. And and through that with like not even I didn't get like certificates that got me really anything at all. But like as far as like the skill sets go, like I learn things so fast. I handle myself so well under pressure, right? And one of my catchphrases, even in my company, is never let them see you sweat. Though I have slipped up because I'm human, but 99% of the time, you never see it slip, right? And that's from a lot of, well, you can call it trauma. I just call it life. I think,
yeah.
I don't know about you. I mean, like, what do you think? Do you thank life for the problems? Because while I'm about tired of them right now, I still thank life for them because it makes me better. You know what I mean?
100%. I mean, I had a kid when I was 14 years old, right? Well, they forced me to be an adult as a young kid. Well, I forced myself at that point, putting myself in that shoes. So I 100% relate what you're saying. The question I do have, I mean, I had always literally my goal or my dream as a little kid was to be in the military, right? And one of the biggest things is everybody around me never had the capacity or the structure or something where literally just follow something and and go through it, right? It was always a place of let's just live the day, right? They have zero structure. And something that I love about the army in general is everything is very structured. You have to follow a game plan. You have to follow up when the time you get up, right? Literally, you follow a calendar without even knowing. Kind of.
You always know where you stand, right?
Yeah.
Or need to lay down. And, you know, I had ADHD, all of those fun terms, everything that people want to pigeonhole you with. I've got experiences through even in my own family, not to dog people out or name names, but like, you know, I have very similar people like myself in my family. And there's one major difference of the way we were raised is drugs, no drugs, right? Meaning like ADHD medicine and no ADHD medicine. And one of us learned how to deal with that shit. And the other person needed that drug, right? When they got off that drug, everything went crazy, right? So like that's the other piece is the Marine Corps gave me the structure because trust me, I would have been in jail or dead, right? Like that's no, and then people joke about this, but I promise you, I'm dead ass serious. Like it was life or death leaving Rockford. But yeah, but the point you made a point, right, about joining the military. And I want to tell you the difference, right? And it's a funny story, and I've never actually told anybody this, but you just reminded me of something because I told you I played music as a kid, right? And playing music, and I was in all city orchestra, and I was going for concertmaster or whatever it is that I was trying to do at the time. And back then, you had to record on cassette tapes, right? They'd give everybody a sheet of music, and then you have to record yourself, and they would select blindly based on just music, right? And I remember having that recording session. I remember getting in trouble at school for recording talk shows with my brother when I got grounded because you can't ever leave me alone because I can't get bored, right? Like I get interesting when I get bored. And so I got in trouble because I was making fun of teachers on this talk show and I was making copies and passing them out to kids and shit. I wasn't charging anybody anything. I was just having fun. Uh, but then I got grounded and like the grounding in my family stuck, right? There was none of this like, if you're grounded if they said 6 months, they weren't fucking around, right? Like it was to the day more often than not. Now, mom might let you get away with some shit, but not really. But this time I really screwed up. Right? I deserved every bit of this to give credit to my parents. Like I deserve this. But I was locked down, right? Locked down. And I'm in there and I'm all pissed off. I'm like 13, 14 years old. And I'm like, I found this after Marine Corps boot camp. And I go back to my basement where I grew up, right? And I find this recording. I'm like, what the hell is this? And I play it. I'm thinking I'm going to hear some music, something like that. Or maybe, just maybe, I hear that talk show, right? And there was no talk show. What there actually was me bitching at 13, 14 years old as a pissed off teenager. Like, what am I supposed to do? Become a mindless Marine like my parents? And then I'm sitting there right after Marine Corps boot camp listening to this shit with my best friend sitting there. He just dies laughing for like oh, right. I'm just like sitting there full boot haircut. You know what I mean? Right. Like it was funny. But yeah, long story, lots of bumps, lots of hurdles. But the real estate, how did I get here? Right. Unless you had another question. Sorry. This is
No, no, no. That's awesome. So I actually have I do have another question before that.
perfect.
What's the difference mindsets? Because I mean, I believe mindset is everything, right? Being a Marine brings you 100% different perspective and different mindset in general, right? Now, when you become an investor, when you become in a real estate, now we're talking about a whole different type of mindset you have to have, right? Now you have to overcome different things. Literally, it's probably easier for you to shoot a gun to do public speaking at the beginning, right?
Without fail. Yeah. Yeah. I know many people that to this day would rather get shot in the face than public speak. So totally.
Yes. So with that being said, do you think there's a lot of similarities or is it more similarities than differences? What do you think on that behalf?
So what do I think about the mindset shifts that are required and transitioning through life is what I'm hearing?
Correct.
I would say that it depends. Like, so you'll hear me say this in some of my content. I say this quite a bit. Is it's not the mentor, it's the mentee. It's what you take out of it, right? And then what you take from that and put into the next thing. So if you were to take the what you consider to be positive or negative, my grandfather used to say this when I was a kid. If you want to be the best version of yourself, take one good thing and one bad, at least one good thing and at least one bad thing from every person you meet, right? And based on your worldviews, now this is not what he said, this is what I got from it. But like based on your worldviews, that'll make you the best person that you can be. And in the same realm, mindset shifts are the same thing. It's like it is a constant battle. And there's no one way to skin that cat, right? There's no one book that's going to solve your problem and give you the aha moment. I've given people tons of books that I've read, and not a single one of them, well, a couple of them for the same few books, especially like the ones that you'll hear me tout, like Can't Teach a Kid to Ride a Bike at a Seminar, like Rocket Fuel. Those basic ones that everyone should read. But the other ones, I'm like, this one touched me, right? Like I'm a big Patrick David fan, so like there's a lot of things there that I'm like, this is awesome. I give it to you, and you're like, this guy, right? You're like, I don't like this guy. You want to be Arnold Schwarzenegger, so on and so forth. So it's about what you take into it. But as far as mindset goes, I think the Marine Corps set me up for success. That killer mindset, and I use killer like a Marine would. It doesn't mean kill people, folks. It just means like, go getter, like, good to go, killer, right? Like, hey, buddy, right? Hey, what's up, killer, right? Like, relax. Oh, but that killer mentality, which is what I'm talking about, is the brotherhood, the mentality. If that's what I've been focusing and hunting, what I realized in working at the city for damn near a decade and going through college and trying all these different things and moving all over and living all over the United States, if all of that has told me one thing is that it's all just people at the end of the day, right?
100%. That's so true.
And you can't let those people mess with your mindset. So my mindset had to be the exact same, which is this is life or death, right? And so if it's life or death, then my family, my friends, it means that it's for them as well, which means I have to go 1,000%. I can't just go. I graduated on a Saturday and started work on a Monday, right? And that's what everybody has told me. I've been in a hurry my whole life, and I forget to have fun. I didn't have a lot of fun in my 20s. Hell, I lost a marriage because of it, right? Because I didn't have fun because they wanted to go fuck off. I didn't. I wanted to be in school, grind my ass off, and then figure out if what they told me was true. That if I grind my ass off and go to college and do all the stuff that they told me to do, that I would be happy. They told me that shit. They told me that shit in the 90s. They said, work their ass off, get good grades, and do that shit. I told them in the early 2000s, screw off. I did my own thing, and it didn't work. So I tried it their way now. Right? I still, see what I'm saying? Like, I listened, daddy. Right? Like, I was like, okay, I'll do it your way. And I still was miserable. Right? And so that mindset shift helped me realize when I got to the same dark place that I had been multiple times before in my life, that this was not it.
Yeah.
So I made a change.
Love that.
And that is where I had to trust my feet. And that, my friends, is a mindset shift that you have to have constantly. It's just do it. Go do it. Do the thing, whatever it is. You hear it all the time.
Literally, that's how you figure out if you like it, if you don't like it, right? And a lot of people just absolutely love the fact of doing something until they actually start doing it and they figure out it's hard.
I just had this conversation with somebody that joined as a wholesaler and was like, wanted to learn how to be a wholesaler, to join my team. They've been here for 6 months. They're like, fuck wholesaling. I was like, I get you. Everybody thinks that this is fun and everyone wants to be a wholesaler. So it's time to do wholesaler shit, right? Like, which is constant hours on the phone, grinding nonstop, tons of no's, mastering a craft, right? Not having the answers, having to blindly walk this path and not having to learn how to trust strangers again, right?
100%.
Like all of these things are just like it's a brand new life, but I promise you that once you can break that mold, right? And this is very much, the purple Bible, right? Can't teach or Rich Dad Poor Dad, right? Robert Kiyosaki. But moreover, Cash Flow Quadrant, the next book, right? Which is very much about breaking that mindset. Once you break that mold, all you see is ones and zeros, right? And like I give you an example. When I got out of the Marine Corps, I was up in Chicago, and I thought I had the best job on the planet because I got to work out all day long. I got paid. I got in awesome shape because I was roofing, right? And in that process, I went through and I made a lot of money during that time, but then it got cold, right? And I still had to roof because I was a damn good roofer. And so that, excuse me, I still had to roof for all of that, right? And it got cold, it got awful, and things had to change. Sorry, I lost the point. You said we could edit that, right? Anyway, so what was your question? Sorry.
No worries. No, we were talking about the mindset shifts and everything that is happening. Anyways, we were talking about the wholesaler, right? That you were giving him the conversation when it gets hard, you have to change. You have to step on it. And matter of fact, I was listening to Alex Ramosi talking about the Valley of Despair. Have you heard that conversation?
So that's what I meant by being thankful, right? Oh, the Valley of Despair, the 5 points, right? You know, he talked about that just recently, but Jerry Norton years ago had a really good point on that. right? And he literally sat down with Pace and talked about this, right? Where every business cycle or every business goes through the same thing. And this is where you have to follow through, right? You have to follow through because if you just have the ADD brain and you just follow the things that sound and taste good, you're never going to find something. So that's where you heard me talk about the difference between a hobby and a business, right? And so you have to try out the hobbies until you find something that is palatable and then make it a business. Otherwise, you're just around,
Yeah.
right? Like you're just playing house, right? Which is a pun, but not intended. Um, but in the real estate market, playing house anyway. Uh,
But yeah,
but yeah, so getting down here and having to pivot, man, multiple times in my life, I thought I had it figured out, and then I still had to go. And that's what I mean by trust your feet. Is I jumped in, right, not knowing what I was doing, and I just trusted that I'd figure it out because I had a cheat code. And I promise you that all of you have this too. You don't have to go through the Marine Corps or the Army to figure this out. You made it through childhood, my friend,
yes.
and if you made it through that crazy shit, you can do this too. I promise, because it's just a couple more problems to solve. That's it. Right. And get in there, trust your feet. That's what I say all the time is trust your feet. It's like going to the deep end, right? Just trust your feet, keep walking, right? One foot in front of the other. And if you fall, good, good. Get the straights. It's when you hear me say beat your knuckles against the brick, right? That's what I mean. That way you can strengthen your knuckles so when you get into a real fight, you're not injured.
100%. That's so powerful because a lot of people don't understand that you literally have to go through it. It's not like you could skip something and then you're gonna be better next time, right? We were literally having a conversation last night about this. Is there's I've been meeting so many people, right? I mean, people that are making $100,000 deals, and I've been meeting people that are doing $100 million deals in the past few weeks. And we're like, well, that guy has a smaller mindset because he's thinking of a couple hundred. This other guy, this is where we want to be because he has $1 million mindset. And I was like, yeah, it's very important for us to actually walk in every direction and know about these people, right? And learn from their mistakes. But a lot of people want to have the $100 million life, but you don't understand what it takes, the problems they're solving, right? Everybody says this: fix rich people's problem, and you're going to become rich. Well, you don't even understand what kind of problems they have if you're not rich.
Exactly.
If you never have $100,000, you're never going to understand what it takes to fix $100,000 problem. And everybody in the world, oh, well, I could fix that guy that it's $100 million guy's problems, right? But reality is, you have to be there before you actually could do it.
Yeah, and that's why a lot of the people that have made that money, and I will be one of those people. You will be one of those people.
You're nerd before.
I've met you, right? Like this is just a matter of time now, right? It's not if, it's when. And it's being in the right place at the right time, but constantly having your head on the swivel. I just put out a video about that as well, which was basically saying that, I did study economics, right? I do have this background, but at the same time, it's pretty, if you've been in this game long enough, you either learn it or you were educated on it, right? So if you've been in this game long enough, meaning 4 or 5, 7 years, and you've seen one or two market cycles, right? You can start to see the patterns. And that's what I mean by the ones and zeros. So once you understand that all of this is black and white, for the most part, right? And all of this, if you can understand the rules of the game, you can win anything. That's how I got into it. And then I needed the problems. I didn't understand. It was such a far journey. It was such a far, like, crazy dream that I was going to be a millionaire, right? I never let myself believe that. It was always like, when you had asked earlier about, like, mindset and moving forward. Well, I'll tell you this, the cheat code I've always had with my life was, that I've always said something and then I've talked more shit and then had to fill in those shoes, right? When people told me I was going to fail in the Marine Corps, I was like, hold my beer, I'll be the best Marine ever, right? And then I had to go and do that shit, right? And I wasn't the best Marine ever. Trust me, I sucked, right? Like, as far as, like, I knew amazing Marines that I hated them but respect completely now because they were amazing, right? I was like, what nerd, right? I'm like, over here messing around, right? I'm over here having fun, and they're over here going to college and doing all these different things, right? Because they had a different worldview. I had just gotten out of that place, right? They've been structured their whole life. I just found it, right? Anyway, um, yeah,
Yeah, it's super important to understand that because I was actually reading a book here recently, and it was talking about the 80/20 rule, right?
yeah,
It was talking about not just the 80/20 rules, like 80% of what you do brings you 20% of results, but he was talking about how 2x is easier than 10x is easier than 2x, right? Have you read that book?
No, no, I haven't read that book, but that is a very, I wouldn't say common, but it is a very powerful message throughout the ranks, right?
Yeah. And it was so like it impacted me as far as like we are trying to change every day, right? And everybody talks about change one, be 1% better every day. Reality is you have to shoot for 100% every day be different because if not, like you're gonna get stuck or not necessarily stuck, but it just takes you a long time to achieve whatever you want to go, right? Elon Musk said it a few months ago. He was talking in a conversation. He's like, get your 10-year goals and compress them down to your 6 months goals and then see what you can do. What kind of a level of operation do you have in your life, right? Same thing when it comes to 10x is easier than 2x. He's like, okay, whiteboard it out. Literally, what do you want 10 years from now? Break that down. How can you operate and be that person today, right? If you want to have $100 million company, how does that person walk, dress, talk, introduce himself? How does he do business? How is he closing deals? All these kind of different things is like, how does that person look and become that person as fast as possible? Because if not, right, it's like, all right, well, I'm going to get one soft skill at a time. It's going to take you 20 years. That's how everything works, right? Reality is that way.
I
Is you
think
put your and go for
I think there's multiple camps. And I don't think it's zero sum. I don't think it's one or the other, right? It's different strokes, different folks. So I can tell you this: at 22 years old, Eric would have been a totally different person to train or even be in a position like this, right? The lessons I learned there had to be hard knocks. Up here, if you tried hard knocks, I'd just walk away. But I'm like, nah, I'm good, right? You get what I'm saying. As you get older, things change. Um,
100.
yeah. Anyway, as far as like the college thing, that's what I was trying to say is that's the goal that I'm always shooting for, something bigger. So what is my goal now is I want to raise it's a small goal, but I want to raise $1 million in private equity this year, right? To feed my flipping company like we were talking about, right? But that is a large goal from 3 months ago, and now I already need to increase that dramatically. Do you get what I'm saying? But
Yes.
a year ago, raising $1 million sounded so foreign to me, right? And that was already established in real estate. You get what I'm saying? Right?
Yes.
5 years from now, the idea of selling paper, right, was crazy to me. And I'm like, if people can do this, there's no reason for me to not do anything else in my life. Right. I'm like, if it's this easy, if it's as easy as Jerry Norton is making it seem, which hashtag it is, right? It's simple, right? It's not easy.
It's simple when you understand it, right? It's easy when you understand it. Doing the first couple moments so complicated, right? It's a complex problem when you the first 3 deals, let's say it. First 3 deals are pretty complicated.
Oh yeah, it depends, especially if you get into creative. Oh my God. Like there's these people that have never done a wholesale deal in their life that jump, and there's a ton of them that jump into creative because the barrier to entry is really low, right? And it's easier to get yeses for a lot of those types of conversations depending on where they're at. But like, especially, and you get more conversations that way because there's a lot more of distressed hands in the air, right? But having those conversations in the very beginning and locking up a creative deal for your first contract is freaking suicide, right? You're playing with three different sticks of dynamite. One of the seller's life in your hands. You're playing. You see what I'm saying here? Like those are very dangerous situations, and it takes a lot of brass to get in there, a lot of ignorance, and that's a big fear of mine. That's why I'm doing this, right? If you wanted my mission, which is just education, so people can do good business, man. Like I just found out of somebody here locally in Fort Worth, which I'm gonna report, but like that locked up innovation, and locked up innovation got him to sign it, but pretended to be the buyer. That's a big issue with me, right? They're gonna put it on the market and sell this. That's dubious, right? And they tricked him into that. I'm like, dude, this is some messed up shit. Uh, but I know them, so I'm gonna guide them and be like, listen, stop this shit, right? I just found out about it. Stop it, right? Cancel it. And so, anyway, long story short, you can get into those situations, but you can only navigate those from experience, and you only get experience by busting your knuckles against the brick, whatever that means to you. You know what I mean?
You're 100% so true. So one of the biggest things that you're doing now is actually social media, right?
Oh yeah.
What is the reason or what's your context behind that?
Thank you for asking that question because I forget to talk about that, which is this new form. Anybody that's seen me, I was a bot until a couple of months ago, right? Because I'm a very private person. Being this driven has made it to where my circle is very, very small because a lot of people that I thought were friends, I've lost over the years because I don't want to waste my time doing dumb shit. right? I don't want to go to the parties. I don't want to go on the vacations. I don't want to do all the, I want to work so that I can retire for the last 40 years of my life. You guys have your fun now. I'm going to have 40 years of fun. You guys are going to have 10 and be poor for the rest of your lives, right? Like, I'm going to be that, right? No hate towards you. Your prerogative. I still love you, but we can't kick it, right? Because I got shit to do today. And so you do that enough and your circle's really small. Uh,
Yeah, smaller you go.
but the part of that is social media and plus the military too, which is like terrorism aware, all this shit that's piled into your head, you know, being different and being in social places and being in positions of some type of authority where, you know, working at the city of Fort Worth, I can't go out offlandish and be an asshole on the internet because I'm making the city look bad. The Marine Corps drove that into my head that if I look bad, my company looks bad. So I've always been a company man. So I've been pretty reserved and I've had like 150 or 200 friends on Facebook for the last 15 years.
Wow.
My first Instagram post was in December of last year, ever. And when people hear that, right? Because I'm not 40 yet. You know what I'm saying? And when they hear that, they're like, how? I'm like, because I don't need it. Like, I have a phone. Like, text me, dog.
Yeah.
But now it's different, right? And I have this. And so in these different communities, I have put a lot of effort and value back into the community that I learned a lot from because I learned a lot of this from these types of people. And so this skill set that I have, which is education, is what I took to the mat. Right. And I mean wrestling term, right? So I took that in with me and I started training people on what I knew, what I was good at. And then they liked what I was doing. So we did that. What I realized is I've got 15, 20 years of training experience where I've trained tons and tons and tons of people, right? Upwards of 300 and 500 people at a time, all kinds of stuff, right? That is a skill set that I can bring back to this community, meaning the wholesale and investment community, and help make a change so that laws that got passed in 2021 in Oklahoma can never be passed again because that's a bunch of bullshit, right? Outlawing this and outlawing that because there's a bunch of bad apples, right?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of my piece. Is I kind of want to change wholesale one deal at a time, but I'm quickly leaving wholesale as part of my everyday thing, and it's being more towards flips and development and everything else. So we'll see what comes next, I guess. You know,
That is awesome. So yeah, something that I caught on there is that you literally have to teach people, educate people, right, to do the right thing for two reasons: their personal image and their like literally their what would the right terminology be like for the people, right? How people view you. We were having a conversation one time, and one of the guys like came up to me and was like, "Well, we have to leave a first impression." And the first thing I told him was like, "No, bro, we never leave a first impression. We have to have an always impression, right?" What does that mean to me is anytime and every time you show up to anything, they have to see you the same way. Because when you leave first impression, that just means that second time, third time they're gonna talk to you, you're gonna be different, right? And we see that time over time. The social media that's one of the things they promote, right? You see a very big influencer, you like the guy, you think you're cool, like you want to be his friend kind of a thing, and then you really meet him in person and he's not that great of a guy. You know?
right, right. Well, and unfortunately for anybody that's trying to meet me, I'm exactly this guy. That's the whole reason I'm doing it. I thank you for asking that because that's one of the things I wanted to talk about is I get to be unapologetically me. I've been in the camera, I've been in front of people, I've done all kinds of presentations to all kinds of different people, and it's always been for somebody else. I've been a subject matter expert on tons of different topics, but this is my passion. And so I get to speak about my shit, about my way. And if I want to walk out in this interview right now, I can. Right?
Yeah.
Not that I would, but you get my point, right? Is
100%. That's the most important thing.
I don't have freedom. I don't have financial freedom yet, but I do have personal freedom, right? That I can make, I broke the code to where enough, at least for now, to where I can be my own person 100% of the time. And that's why I hated working at the city because I could never be myself. I had been stabbed in the back so many times, and it was just people would use my words and twist them. And I'm like, man, I'm trying to be friends with the people I'm at work. But then they tell me, don't be friends with the people at work because that's not what work is for. But then I'm like, but that's what I was taught in the Marine Corps, and we had a great time. But we also did impressive, crazy, awesome shit. Like it was one of the most efficient things I've ever been a part of. And I'm trying to bring some of that here, but also not hate my life for 60 hours a week. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's so important because so many people actually hate their lives because of that certain reason. Like, it's so crazy how people could be 4 or 5 different types of person depending on their environment, man. So important, or else it'd be one.
That's it. I mean by masks, right? And I talk about that as well, which is, you through life, we're forced to put on masks. Your parents say, "Don't act like that in public," or your grandma just, "Don't swear in front of your aunts," or anything like that, right? So we all are taught these things in our culture, right, and in our societies. But there's certain things like that, which is like this j man, I don't wanna be too outlandish here, but I mean, it's basically it's employment's, slavery, right? It's a mindset shackle on you. Jean-Jacques Rousseau, I believe is his name. He's a political theorist. He talks about golden shackles. You may have heard that from other people, like golden handcuffs, golden shackles. I absolutely had those metaphoric shackles on my wrist at the sea. I was making hella cash. I was making all kinds of money, more money than anybody in my family, my immediate family or otherwise, had seen from anything. And I got to prove them all wrong. Right? Not that I was flashy or anything like that. I tried to help, but at the same time, it was like, bitch, I was right. Right. So there's a lot of money at the time. That was $60,000. I thought that was $1 million. That's what I mean. Like that was more money than I'd ever seen. And it was, and that turned into the shackles. Right. So now I'm working. Right now I'm working for comp time, and that's the trick they get you for. Right. Because I'm not exempt. I'm exempt, so I can't get overtime, but I can get hour for hour vacation time that I'm never going to be able to take. See. Right. When I left the city, I had 200 plus hours of this shit. I had nonstop vacation hours. I never got to take a day off, but it wasn't them. It was me and them, right? Because I was working for the team and I wanted to be a team, but I constantly saw that people, because of the politics, had to do certain things that that absolutely didn't agree with. And there was a certain point where I was about to lose my mind and I had to get out of there. Right. So yeah, I left, just left. And I'm hireable, but yeah, I've since mended a lot of those relationships, but it was for their safety. It was for their safety. I was about to have like one of those moments, if you get what I'm saying. I was like, I'm going home. What?
Man, I love that. I think that's a yeah, that thing's it's crazy when you think about these things because it's so true. The Getchy and Golden Handcuffs, I was in a company that they're doing billions of dollars, right? And they get like the engineers. Literally, the engineers is the most foreign part because they're the people that are actually doing the floor plans, making sure that the materials are there, everything, right? And then they have the layers of supervisors. Literally, supervisors just make sure people are kept accountable to do what they do. But the engineers are the most important piece there. Starting engineers make about $40,000 to $50,000 a year, which is trash, right?
Yeah, that's wild.
However, in 5 years, they're literally making anywhere from 120 to 150K plus company stocks, right? So what they do is make sure those 5 years they drown you as much as they can, right? And if you stuck up, now they give you company stocks and they give you the big cash, everything. But for 5 years, they're drowning you. You know what I mean? And it's like the golden handcuffs, right? I spoke to multiple engineers that they're super smart. They know what they're doing. They're literally running the company like they're crews, right? I mean, we're talking about $1 million, a couple $5 to $50 million projects by themselves, and they're earning 80K a year, 100K a year, right? For those first 5 years. But they're like, yeah, it's because I'm looking forward for that stock. I'm looking forward for my retirement. I know that in 20 years from now, I'm gonna be a multimillionaire when it comes to stocks and stuff like that. So it's so true what you're talking
I
about.
was always her job, man. Like that was the reality, even at the city. I mean, I spent a good 3 or 5 hours a week, right? And then doing these bullshit performance reviews, and then people that have no idea what the fuck I do for a living, right? Like all of these pet projects that are put on my desk and everything that I'm asked to be in. And like, dude, I was a victim, right? Of that environment, right? Like it was crazy. It was so toxic. And I hate that word, but dude, it damn near killed me. Like, cause this is what I said to kind of roll this back out is I didn't have this understanding. I didn't understand the difference between an entrepreneur and an employee, right? Not understanding that those are not derogatory terms either. They're just descriptions, right? There are different strokes for different folks, is how we've all heard this, right? There's a million different ways to say that. Not everybody likes sweet tea. Like there's a million ways that you could say. Um, and that's what sorry. I don't know if you see this matter, that some distractions. I apologize. Um, where was I apologize.
You're talking about the golden handcuffs.
Yeah, yeah. I don't remember what that was pertaining to when I was talking about that, but yeah. Anyway, so oh, golden handcuffs. Yeah. Oh, I was making a ton of money, man. Like I told you, it wasn't 60, it was 100, but there was no way I could get. I always I outperformed everybody constantly, and I was always looking for another job still, right? Because I was always miserable. There was nothing that they could do to feed that because there was no culture. Do you get what I'm saying? Like everybody was trying to stab themselves in the back. And I've been hunting that culture my whole life after the Marine Corps. So eventually I just said, screw it, and made it for myself. Right. I was like, I'm going to start collecting people. Right. And whatever that means, collect me. I'll let them collect too if they're strong enough. You know what I'm saying?
So when did you start your own thing?
So my own thing. I don't know, man. I feel like I've been doing my own thing for a hot ass minute now. But now as far as like Terra Real Estate goes, I've been with these guys for 3 full years now. It's been a hell of a ride. Brian Garcia, Andrew LeBlanc, and previous partners as well that helped get it off the ground. It has been a roller coaster. But as far as my first like wholesale contract is about 5 years ago. First time I bought a house was 2017, and that was a VA, what I call poor man flipping. So yeah, we're getting there, right? About 8 years in, 7 years in. Um, we've been a part of
How big is your team now?
6.
6 of you guys. So you got what, a position guy? What kind of people do you got on your team now?
Well, so everyone has their roles, right? So yeah, as far as the roles go, but as far as the team goes, we're all teammates, right? So you've got your disposition role head on. You've got a prospector for the disposition person. You've got an acquisition manager that's just over acquisitions and signing contracts and underwriting it as well. And they have a follow specialist underneath them. And then you've got the sales manager. That's Andrew LeBlanc. He runs the entire situation there. And then you've got our transaction coordinator, and then the floater. If you've ever been in the waiting industry, is me going in between all of them because I've worked at.
That is awesome. And you're the closer too.
Oh yeah, yeah. But I mean, that's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I can close every contract, but I need you to close every contract, right? And so that's one of those things I learned along the way, right? So when I started that, I had what they called a mentorship model. At one point, I had 36 employees.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. That was like a year and a half ago, and we had to show a lot of them the door just because they weren't showing up for themselves. And it was a mentorship model in a sense of a bunch of entrepreneurs. That was my point. Sorry, I lost it. Was the difference between an entrepreneur and an employee, right? The city of Fort Worth. I didn't understand it. Now I do. In that different strokes, different folks. However you want to say it. I was different. I was an entrepreneur masquerading as an employee, and that's why I was always miserable. It wasn't that fault, is my point. I never understood it when Silton would come up to me, this old dude from Louisiana would be like, "Hey, slow down, young buck. You got till next Friday. It's only Tuesday." I'm like, "But dude, I don't want to be sitting on this shit for a week. Like, that stresses me out, right?
Yeah.
You're people. You see what I'm saying? Right?
Yes.
Strokes, different folks. And that was an employee. And now I've got employees masquerading as entrepreneurs, right?
So powerful. It's a way different culture change now.
Well, yeah, and it's finding that balance. Some people call them solopreneurs. There's all these different blends and different types of folks, right? And it's all these kind of like almost pigeonhole.
Let's say entrepreneurs now. You got entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs.
But everyone calls themselves an investor, and you heard me say this at the meetup, right? You call yourself an investor. What are you investing in?
Yeah.
You're just taking money from real estate transactions.
100%.
Use a hoe. You're giving it away for free. Well, anyway,
Very.
that was a ludicrous quote. If you didn't catch that, I'm cultured.
No worries. No, that is awesome. So if you had $1,000 in your pocket and just a cell phone, what would you do? How would you start?
I love that question. It's such a good question. Like I like your question. When I say if I could go back and do it again, would I do it the same way? I think I would. And it's basically just that, which was, now, I'll say this: with that $1,000 in my pocket, do I have everything else facilitated? Do I have rent? Do I have everything else covered?
No, literally $1,000 on a phone. What would you do?
$1,000 in a phone?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. PG, Eric. All right. $1,000. I'm very literal, right? So I'm going through this in my head with you right now. If it were just in real estate, yeah, I mean, that's the fastest way to make it, right? Assuming that I have that and I have time and food, right? I'd probably dedicate the next 2 weeks with a minimal budget of ramen noodles and basically nothing else, right? Find some newspaper or some warm cardboard because you said nothing else is provided. Because this shit's going to take time. And this is why I don't like this question, but I will answer it. right? Is I'm gonna go immediately to a title company, to a bank. I'm gonna go find somebody that can go and help me get access to an MLS, or go to a public library and go onto Zillow and start pulling a list, or go to Redfin. Like if you go to my page, you go look, I share that for free. But go to Redfin and download that list, put it in Google Sheets, and just start dialing on that phone until somebody picks up, and keep doing that until somebody says yes after you follow a simple script. That's what I would do, because I would make calls and try to put myself in the middle and find out what their problem is so I can try and solve it. Because the fastest way to make money is to solve problems.
100%.
But I would need food and shelter to make that really, really efficient. Like,
Yes. No, it's so powerful because we underestimate what could happen. I mean, literally, we're one relationship away to being the next million or the next deal, the next whatever you want to call it, right? There's something else on the other side of that phone call or that contact, and literally, there's lots of people that just can't follow through. You know,
how
they
about
don't.
let's do go through it. $100 or $120 a month for prop string, ka-ching, right? We're going to need a Google workspace. So that's probably about $100 a month, depending on your email or your platform. If you want to get a website, you can get that in there for about $100. Your phone bill is going to be about $100. We're going to talk about a month. Let's say you need $200 for food. There's no vehicles. So now we're at $600, right? So we're at $400 for any other kind of amenity that you possibly could have. You don't need a dialer. So, and you don't need any actual outbound marketing or inbound marketing, you need outbound marketing. You are going to need Outlook and probably Adobe and a Zoom account. Other than that, I think you can get out from under $1,000 in a month, close a deal, or at least have it locked out to where you have something that you can look forward to and be hungry for 2 weeks.
100%.
That's it. Sorry, I'm a problem solver, so that's maybe I'm a little special needs. Who knows?
Hey, you're gonna have a teaching moment after this for sure.
We'll see. We'll see. Oh, you talking?
Hey guys, so today's video is gonna be all about how you got $1,000 a phone and we make it happen.
Hey, I mean, it's similar to what Grant Cardone said, what Pace Morbius said, right? And when I heard that, and I'll say this about that, it's kind of like saying, "Hey, sell me this pen," right? It's like
Yeah.
it's a tool to establish a point, and I agree with all of them that it's really just sweat equity at that point, right? Because
Yeah.
what I think that experiment shows more than anything is necessity, right? In economics, we talk about this all the time: is that necessity drives innovation. Have you ever heard that?
Yeah.
Right? So you need to make money sitting on a bench with $1,000 in your pocket, right? You don't need to make money. You don't need to make any money doing this if you're sitting behind your keyboard at work listening, because you already have a job and it's not that big. You need to shift your mindset to figure out what need actually means, because you don't need that job. You want to be there because you're comfortable.
Correct. That's powerful.
Yeah. So, mother,
Power- I love that. Well, man, tell us how can we connect with you, everybody? How can they bring deals to your table? What do you need? What could you help? Just tell everybody a little bit of how can they connect with you.
sure, you can always check me out on Instagram, the same socials. I'll give you those so that you can post them with the video. Instagram, Facebook, and then on YouTube as well. So on YouTube, I think it's Eric Vodka REI. Again, and when we talked about social media, just so you guys know, this is all new to me because I'm constantly trying to make myself uncomfortable. And this, I was trying to elaborate on that, and that I'm a very private person, and this is very intrusive because this is really me, and you guys get the raw me all the time. And so giving people access to you that much when you never gave people access before is really weird. If that's,
Yeah.
I don't know if you can relate to that at all, but it's quite strange. Yeah, it's at Eric Vodka underscore REI.
Perfect. I'll put everything underneath on the link so you guys could go and check them out. Make sure you get in contact with Eric. And you're doing deals everywhere, just Dallas.
And I'm glad you said that. I am in desperate need of a flip here within 50 miles of DFW. So if you're in the Dallas area, DFW area, and you've got any kind of cash deals, I'll take creative as well. I don't care. Been a master in both for a long time. And if you need any help closing those deals or need education, you can always reach out to me. One of the best things that you could do for me and the community is to, go to my channel like I will do with this young man. We're going to do a bunch more together. But go and support the local people, right? So like, comment, subscribe, do that kind of thing, and give me a comment. If you want me to make some content or you want to ask a question, please ask it publicly so that I can answer it publicly and maybe help some more people. That's all I'm asking.
100%. I love that, Eric. I think it's so important for people to actually do ask the questions, because sometimes we sit down and like, okay, what can I teach on, or what can I show, or whatever? Because for us, it might be something very normal, but for someone just like you on the other side of that screen, right? You probably have a question or a doubt of something that could be very simple for us, or vice versa. That's why we get out there all the time. I know for a fact myself, I'm always asking questions. Hey, how can I do this? And sometimes it does seem like a very dumb question until they give me the explanation as like, it was not a dumb question. It was the best question I could ever ask.
Until I was a Marine, or outside of the Marine Corps, there's 4 years in the Marine Corps. I will attest to this. Outside of the Marine Corps, there is no such thing as a dumb question. There's dumbass questions in the military. But it's
worse.
Yeah, there's some dumbass questions in the military. Anyway, yeah, man, that's the big piece here is I give you the example of this, and then you can cut it however you want it. But when I got into real estate, I never really wanted to see the flashy walking through a house or what a flip looks like, because I know all that shit. I've done all the construction. I've done all that stuff. I know that I could do that part of it. What I needed more than anything was the underwriting. What I needed was to shift out of the multifamily mindset I had at the city, right? Get back into single family and actually underwriting things this way and understanding exit strategies. And I never saw any of that because that's not flashy. You guys get what I'm saying? Right? That's how many times have you just scrolled past a spreadsheet on TikTok? You know what I'm saying? Right? So we got to do this so that we can get to that. And I would love to do that. If you go to my page, I am doing breakdowns and I will do more. I just closed on a flip and made $63K yesterday. Right? So it is, you guys like fun? If you want to see that, you got to come and ask. You know what I'm saying? Because we're busy. And, we'll see you at the next meetup too.
Let's do it, man. So this Saturday, matter of fact, no?
Is it this Saturday?
Yes. I believe there's one this Saturday. But yeah, I think it's very important for everybody just start showing up to meetups, conversations, Zooms, YouTube. Guys, I literally, the way I learn the most is I get a video, 15-minute YouTube video, and I dissect this whole video. Literally, like pause it, play, rewind, restart it. That's how I learned a lot of the things I know, because there's so many people that have the knowledge and the wisdom that they're trying to give it for free. I mean, Pace does this all the time, right? He charges you for a mentorship anywhere from $5K up to upwards of $50K right now. And literally the same thing that those people that paid $50,000, he puts that same YouTube video on YouTube for free, right?
To defend the God King Pace Morby real quick, the things you get in those communities is what you're paying for, right? So you still get a lot of the same stuff from the other items. It's the community itself. It's the actual rooms for that 50K. I've talked to some people and like that. I'm like, if I had the 50K, I'd probably do it now because of the things that are, you know what I mean? Like it's those. I never understood it. I'll be honest, Zeke, I never understood it, man. I never understood that I had to pay all of this money for all of these barriers to entry. And then I wasted a bunch of money on other stuff. But like you just said, I don't think I wasted that money. I learned those lessons. It's very Robert Kiyosaki, right? If you paid for that lesson, you never wasted money, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't waste money on sub 2. I didn't waste money on results driven. I got every ounce, if not 50 million times more out of everything. And that's why I will keep pouring back into these communities, because I broke the mold. I broke the code, man. 5 years ago, I was thinking about suicide. You get what I'm saying? Because I was miserable and I was making $150K a year. And where from a poor kid from Chicago, that's fuck you money, right?
Yeah.
And I was thinking about doing dumb shit. You see what I'm saying?
100%. I think it's very important for people. And honestly, Eric, now that I think about it, I mean, I've been in that shoes. I started construction when I was a little kid, making $9 an hour, went up to making upwards of $50-some an hour. And literally that person in me was not there, right? Because I was always something that wouldn't fulfill my life in general. There's an empty hole. And it's true. There's no fulfillment until you actually start fulfilling your mission. right? Whatever you're set you're in the earth to do. And a lot of people, they're actually happier making 30,000 a year, right? Because they have a purpose, they have a mission that they want to accomplish. You know, it's not my mission, obviously. My mission is to raise millions and millions of dollars, and not just for me. I want people to see that it's possible. I want people to actually have a little bit of what I've had of my life. You know what I mean? The taste of what it needs to be super, super poor to super wealthy, and show them that you could be the same person.
I think you can. I don't. Oh, I get that question a lot too, which is like, are you the same? I've never changed. I don't think. I'm less aggressive, if that's what you mean. Meaning physically, like I'm not just gonna punch you in the throat because I've got shit to lose now, right? 22 years old. I mean, 21 years old, getting drunk at a bar because I'm about to go to Afghanistan. Like, guys, if you say some wise shit, I might have punched you in the throat and gotten my ass whooped. But I was willing to take that risk. At 35, 38 years old, I'm good, folks. Y'all have, right? The risk reward system is much different now. My risk now is time, right? Because I have money, I need time back. And so now I'm risking time, and just like this, man. I appreciate the time today, right? I stay this year. What you're doing is really special, man, because we're in a similar situation. We're both getting started. You've got your following going. I love your mission. I love your energy. Like I told you before we got here.
Appreciate that.
If we keep doing this, man, we will shake this market up.
Let's do it. I mean, that's what it takes. A couple of people that are hungry, people that have a mission, have a purpose, and let's do it, man. Super excited. Gonna come forward.
I think it was Chris Crone where he said he'd rather $30,000 he made for himself than $150 that he made for somebody else, or he made by doing somebody else's work. That was, I couldn't have said it better, but that's my exact story with the city and everything else. And so I'm free now, and I got my hand out as long as I can to help people become free too. You know, powerful. Any other questions?
Literally, that's about it, man. I really appreciate you being on the podcast, and I know that we inspire a lot of other people. Your story is very powerful, and people resonate with the real things, you know. So many fake people that I'm not for it anymore, you know.
I was nervous about this once upon a time, and I've never really been the shy type, but when it comes to this kind of publicity, meaning like putting this out on the internet, man, about stories of my past, about, struggles, about talking about my family, this isn't comfortable, but that's part of growth, folks. If you want to get to the next piece, you got to learn what you're good at. And that's what I'm trying to do with you here, Zeke. Am I good at podcasts? Am I good at just doing my own thing? Or am I wasting your time? We're all just learning and growing together. And that's what you got to do is get out in meetups like you and I, right?
Yeah.
And go figure out how we work together, right?
100%. I love that, Eric. Well, I really appreciate you, man. This is going to be out soon. I'll be sharing it with you. Getting all the socials and all that good stuff is very important, so we could, put you on speed dial on everybody's face, So that's going to be awesome. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah. Next time, we'll go over some live deals or whatever it takes to make the kind of money I just made just yesterday, right? I love sharing those wins, but I also, as a note, I'll be sharing a major loss on how I lost tens of thousands of dollars here in the next couple of weeks. So if you're interested.
That is awesome. A matter of fact, we should schedule some time so we could do this and show the people underwriting a deal, how you will make money, and how to avoid losing money, right?
What if somebody brought us a deal to underwrite? I'll do it live with their deal.
Perfect. I actually have a deal right now that I would like to underwrite with you.
Let's do it. Well, I can't right now because we're getting over.
No. I'm saying I do have a deal. We either meet up or let's set some time on after this, and then let's do it.
Yeah, dude. We just hop into Google Meet. I'll show you everything. Do it.
Perfect. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, for sure. All right, guys.